Tinapay mula sa langit. A daily morning devotion with CRC family.
Isang mapagpalang umaga, kapatid. Ako si Brother Jeremy Orojo, isang young people mula sa CRC San Pedro Daughter Church. Samahan niyo po kami sa ating programang Tinapay mula sa langit, ang pang-araw-araw nating debosyon sa salita ng Diyos. Ngayong umaga ay matutunghayan natin ang Genesis 27 verse 34 to 40 na may pamagat na Esau's Remorse. Ngunit bago po tayo magpatuloy, tayo dumako sa isang maikling panalangin. Lord Father God, maraming salamat po sa panibagong araw na ipinagkaloob niyo sa bawat isa upang kami ay magnilay-nilay sa iyong mga salita. Maraming salamat sa patuloy na pagpapala, proteksyon, at patuloy na pagmamahal sa amin. Naway buksan mo ang puso't isipan ng bawat isa na naway ma-absorb namin ang mga salitang gusto mong maiparating sa amin. At magamit namin ito para sa aming spiritual growth. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Ang ating pong pag-aaralan ngayon ay patungkol sa Genesis 27 verse 34 to 40. Sabi doon, when Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too, my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." Esau said, "Isn't he rightly named Jacob? This is the second time he has taken advantage of me. He took my birthright and now he's taken my blessing." Then he asked, "Haven't you reserved any blessing for me?" Isaac answered Esau, "I have made him lord over you, and have made all his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." Then Esau wept aloud. His father Isaac answered him, "Your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off your neck." Pagpalain ng salita ng Diyos. Dito po, sina Isaac at Esau ay nagbalak na hadlangan or to thwart God's counsel. Sina Rebecca at Jacob ay nagbalak na linlangin din at agawin ang otoridad ng ulo ng sambayanan ng tipan na si Isaac. Pinagpala ng Diyos si Jacob, not because of what they had done, but in spite of what they had done. At sa susunod na 20 taon, si Jacob ay didisiplinahin ng Diyos na labis na nagmamahal sa kanya upang iwanan siya tulad niya. And Isaac knew that he had been attempting to bless Esau against the will of God. But look at Esau in verse 34, in 36, and in verse 38. Esau doesn't have a clue. He doesn't even realize he'd been in a fight against God. Verse 34, "But father, don't you have a blessing for me?" Verse 38, "Do you not have more than one blessing?" Ikinigiit pa rin dito ni Esau ang kanyang sariling hiwalay na pagpapala. Ibinigay na niya ang kanyang pagkapanganay. Sa pagbibigay ng kanyang pagkapanganay, ay ibinigay niya ang kanyang karapatan sa pagpapala ng kanyang ama bilang ulo ng tipan. And Esau regretted and blamed Jacob for stealing his birthrights and blessings. And Esau said, and I quote, "Ito ang pangalawang pagkakataon na sinamantala niya ako. Kinuha niya ang aking pagkapanganay at ngayon ay kinuha niya ang aking pagpapala." Si Esau ay hindi tunay na nagsisi. Makikita natin yan sa verse 34 and verse 38. Nagsisisi lang siya na hindi niya nakuha ang hinangad niya. And clearly, Esau didn't get the blessing he desired. And when Isaac is confronted with the reality of his sin, he immediately admits defeat before the will of God. Nagsisimula na tayong makita ang mga gawa ng banal na espiritu sa puso ni Isaac. Why? Because that mistake, that defeat, it shakes him to his core, and we see in him the beginning of true repentance. But in contrast, we see no sense of true repentance in Esau. Patuloy pa rin na ginigiit ni Esau na bigyan siya ng pagpapala pa. Tignan natin ang verse 37. Isaac replies to Esau, "Behold, I have made him your master, and all his relatives I had given to him as servants, and with grain and new wine I have sustained him. Now as for you then, what can I do, my son?" That is what Isaac is saying. What can I possibly do? I've given him the blessing of God in accordance with the will of God. God. What can I possibly do? This is very important. How can I fight against the sovereignty of God? But Esau in verse 38 persists ignorantly. Tuminggi siyang kilalanin ang sarili niyang kasalanan. Nagpatuloy siya sa paghingi ng basbas bukod kay Jacob. Makikita natin dito ang mga simbolismo ng Diyos na may paborito, ang mga Israelita. Masyado rin nilang binaliwala ang kanilang pamana at tinanggihan ang pagpapalang darating sa pamamagitan ni Jesus. Ang panganay ay tumangging tanggapin at ang mga hentil ay nakakuha ng pagpapala. Note though that after the fact, Esau wanted to be blessed. Never in all of these did Esau say, I am sorry, I traded my birthright away and I deserve this punishment. Never. His tears were for himself, feeling sorry for self, not repentant tears. Dito nakikita natin ang makamundong gawain and yung worldly remorse ni Esau. Ngunit hindi natin nakikita ang espiritual na pagsisisi niya, yung true repentance. And in verse 40, you see, Esau's blessings had to do with the flesh. God would prosper his work, and in the spirit realm, he would be subject to his brother. He did say that sometime later, this yoke would be removed, but for then, he was subject to his brother. This passage would like to let us analyze the difference between repentance and remorse. Everybody is sorry when they get caught, but everybody is not repentant when they get caught. But just to add up, Apostle Paul makes the difference between worldly sorrow or remorse. There's a difference, worldly sorrow or remorse and godly sorrow or repentance. In a study by Dr. Linda Mental, she is a therapist and an author, in an article of CBN, she stated, remorse has to do with getting caught, with wrongdoing and the consequences of actions. But they don't acknowledge what the person has actually done. They aren't true repentance. Remorse is managing consequences, but repentance is turning away from our behavior or sin and changing. And the way to find your life is to lose it for Christ's sake. We've got to decide which will be our theme song in life. There's two choices. I did it my way or I did it God's way. Tayo'y muling manalangin. Lord, thank you for sending us your message about Esau's remorse. Thank you for showing us another lesson in which we can take into action. Maraming salamat sa pagpapadala ng mga magagandang mensaheng magagamit namin in facing our future endeavors. Naway magamit namin ito sa aming pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. May apply namin ito. Makapamuhay kami ng Christ-like living. Tinataas po namin ang aming bansa na naway proteksyonan mo ito at continue to prosper it. Tinataas din namin ang darating na 2022 local and national elections. Alam namin na ikaw ang may control sa lahat ng bagay. You are on top of all of this. We know magkakaroon kami ng fair and clean elections at iluluklok mo ang mga karapat-dapat na magsilbi sa bayan. We give you back all the praises, glory, honor, and thanksgiving. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikibahagi sa ating programa. Lagi po nating pagnilayan ang salita ng Diyos mula sa ating puso dahil lubos ang magiging kaunawaan natin dito. Muli po ninyo kaming samahan bukas sa pagninilay sa kanyang mga salita dito sa programang Tinapay Mula sa Langit. Malaya po ninyong i-share ang video na ito upang kayo rin ay maging pagpapala sa iba. Pagpalain po tayong lahat ng ating Panginoon. Magandang umaga.